Today is May 25th, 2021. We continue with our daily offering of learning and now a vigil for peace.
Are you sure you're on there?
I think so. Yeah, looks like we are.
Okay.
Thank you for being with us. There we are. See, it's working. All right, so it's become our custom. We've been doing this now for for 9 months, and it is our custom to offer a mishaberach, a healing prayer. I'd like to really do a shout out, healing for Andy. Andy, find your way home. Whatever that means, wherever that is, find your way home. Find your way home. There's always hope. So for Andy, and for all the people that you're holding in your hearts for healing. Mishaberach, Jimmy. Calling upon the angels to bring healing.
רפואת הנפש ורפואת הגוף, רפואת הנפש ורפואת הגוף. Healing of the spirit, healing of the body for those we know, for those we don't know. Put in the microphone.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I can plug it in. I wasn't thinking so clearly this morning, sorry.
For those we don't know.
Here's the microphone. There we go. That should be better. Better sound.
On my right, the angel Michael. On my left, the angel Gabriel. In front of me, the angel Uriel.
Angels
Behind me
have names, meaningful names. Angel of light, angel of healing.
Baruch atah, above my head, above my head, above my head, Shekhinah Te'el.
The Shekhinah reminding us
Baruch atah Adonai,
that we too can be vessels.
Blessed are you, great healer.
Come home, Andy. I don't know how healing prayers work either, but I believe we have to keep offering them. Root everything we do in learning. So a prayer for learning.
Make the words of your teachings pleasant on their lips. Lips of all of those who come into our circles, into our screens.
Yes.
So we can spend our time together learning for the pleasure of it. We influences, we can become an influence in our lives, walk through the world, receiving and giving, receiving and giving. And for none of these reasons, for the purity of it, the clarity of it. Baruch atah Adonai melamed Torah le'amo Yisrael. Blessed are you who teaches to your people in this fashion. Amen.
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 Amen. Amen. Rabbi Hanania, Jimmy. He was the son of Teradion.
Hanania.
So Rabbi Hanania, the son of Teradion, what does he say? Well, this is kind of an interesting Mishnah, because this Mishnah, I think, is trying to, the beginning of chapter 3 posited this very difficult notion. I mean, we're here. We come out of this putrid drop. We're going to end up in dust or ashes. And it could be saying like Ecclesiastes, what's the point? But the rest of these chapters, I think, are trying to fill it in and saying, what do we do in between? What do we do between being born and death? And I think this is one of those Mishnahs that tells us how to fill the time meaningfully, in a meaningful way, because that's the point. The point is to be here and to make your life mean something. So it says, Shnaim, right? Sheyoshvim, two who sit together, ve'ein b'neihem divrei Torah, and there is not between them words of Torah. And it could be words of Torah, it could be meaningful words. If you sit together and it's just chit-chat, and it's not meaningful, you don't take advantage of that time that you have together. This is the company of, I don't know, how do you translate that? Scorners, kvetchers, sinners. I don't know. How would you translate that?
Lazy people.
Yeah, lazim. Yeah, that's it. People who, taking up space and not taking advantage of the time, right? So, two people who sit together and no words of Torah exchange between them. And it's quoting, interesting, it's quoting Psalm 1.
Yeah, I think the proof texts are added
later. Yeah. But still, it's kind of cool that it's Ashrei. It is quoting that, happy is the person, or forward is the person that doesn't take the path of scorners, right? Of the lazy, who doesn't do that. So forward or happy or meaningful is the life of the person that doesn't take the path of these, sinners, right?
Yeah.
Psalm 1. But two who sit together and the words of Torah are exchanged between them, the divine presence abides with them. I mean, I love that kind of as a commentary on Psalm 1.
Mm-hmm.
So two who sit together and words of Torah exchanged between them, the divine presence abides with them. So, at least we can say in the morning, we share a little Torah. Yeah, whatever else we talk about during the day, whatever it is.
It says that Hanania came to a very bad end.
Oh, he did?
After the war of Bar Kokhba. And his daughter was Beruria.
Oh, my God.
Rabbi Meir's wife.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
How about
cool.
that?
Yeah, I love that we have that. Beruria was probably as educated and as great a scholar as all of them were, but because we know her name. But she was the wife, but she was a mother that lost her children too.
Yeah.
So, two who sit together and words of Torah exchange between them, that's where the divine abides. As it says, here's another proof text. Then, this is crazy. So many proof texts in here. We're not used to that, right? Then they who were filled with the awe of God spoke with one another, and God took note and heard. And a book of remembrance was written before him for those who are in awe of God and dwell upon God's name. That's from the book of Malachi 3:16. So interesting, already 2 proof texts here. There's one more. And then it ends with Echa, Lamentations.
Even one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but this is so cool. I mean, this quote from Malachi is really interesting. Maybe it is added later, but it's still really interesting. It's like, wait a minute, God's paying attention. What gets God's attention? And maybe this is where the book of remembrance, right, is written. And then it says, this only proves the case of 2, from where it can be derived that even one who sits and is occupied with Torah, the Holy One, blessed be God, establishes for that person a reward.
I only have 2. Where can I get 1?
Right. Because in
One
Echa...
who sits and occupies himself with the Torah.
Right. Yeah, one. Let him sit alone and be at rest.
HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives it to him. Gives him the reward.
Oh, well, that's kind of sad. So the question is, I mean, I think the teaching is, don't miss an opportunity to have a meaningful conversation with someone. You know, the time is short. Mm-hmm. Have a meaningful conversation if you can, you know. Yeah. And then the second thing is, maybe you are alone. It doesn't preclude you. It doesn't keep you from receiving, that holiness.
Even if you're alone and quiet.
Badad, Be'adom, Kinatal, right?
It gets laid upon you.
It's okay.
It gets laid upon you. Yep.
Yeah. So
even if you're by yourself, do it.
Yeah. Have a meaningful conversation, you know. I was thinking about this when I looked at this, the process of writing a commentary or writing a sermon or writing to someone else. You know, when you take that alone time to gather your thoughts and you write something, it is learning alone in a sense. I mean, you do this all the time, right? Your process of writing is a lonely process, right? It's a lone process, right?
Yeah, it's not lonely, but yeah.
No, I don't mean lonely. I mean an alone process.
Yeah.
But it's also Torah, right? It's also Torah. Maybe that's why it ends with that note that from Echa, from Lamentations. Let him sit alone and be at rest.
Absolutely.
Because he does what's meant for him.
You think creative work comes out of the
committee?
Committee?
It doesn't come from a committee.
I don't think so.
It doesn't come from a committee. But there are people who love to get the energy and get the feedback from others. Their creative style, their creative energy comes from. I mean, I think it's the difference between introverts and extroverts, right?
Yeah, maybe.
What are you doing?
I'm checking on our biscuit, see if it's fully cooked.
Anyway, so.
We got a biscuit.
Yes, I like that. Prayer, communal prayer with others, but also personal prayer, right? As Joyce says, is a meaningful conversation. Yeah. All
right, I'm going to read a poem that I submitted yesterday.
Okay,
somewhere.
Here, our vigil for peace.
Vigil. Espacularia is a mirror, sometimes cloudy, sometimes clear. From the Latin specularia, a mirror, a glass, or a window. The leaders sat down in the circle of deliberation in front of the espacularia, the mirror of clarity. They washed their hands and opened with, I did not shed this blood. Then they invoked the faces of victims, both sides, and they consulted the elders, and they promised to overcome all inherited obstacles and pledged to not move from that place until every single response was offered up with discernment, compassion, and the necessity to act, knowing the work implies purification, a control of weaponry, an expansion of mind, services, a refinement of culture.
Nice.
They deliberated sensibly about danger, and they opened up the treasuries to treat the untreated. They made the case compelling to culturists who buried the old juvenilia they were selling in the dirt around the graves of the vulnerable, and they sat there for as long as it took, making a public pledge: I will not leave this place until we are done with the old ways.
Mm.
Okay.
Another one?
I have one more that we'll end with.
Okay.
So this is the one I was looking for yesterday.
Oh, great.
From Numbers 6:24. Blessing. When the upper root and the lower root find each other, they meet at the inner point of truth.
Yeah.
Yes, this is it. The inner point of truth will open onto everything. And it will be a secret, gracious wisdom. Yes, this is it. The inner point of truth will lift us into everything, within and around a seamless version of the whole. And every individual will be known as a version of God. Yes, this is it. Yivarechacha Adonai b'yishmerecha. When the upper root and the lower root find each other, they meet at the inner point of truth. The inner point of truth will open onto everything, and it will be a secret, generous wisdom. Yes, this is it. The inner point of truth. The inner point of truth will lift us into everything, within and around, a seamless version of the whole, and every individual will be known as a virgin of God. Yes, this is it.
Yeah. Beautiful. Everything can be a version of God. That was beautiful.
Okie dokie.
One of the great Torah commentaries that we like to use is called the Sfat Emet, and a lot of these images come from the Sfat Emet. This wonderful commentator who teaches us that in just the smallest point of light is everything, kind of like DNA. It's everything you need, so all you have to do is grow that point of light, right? And then you get everything you need. So, we hope you have a great day, a day of light, a day of lift, a day of meaningful conversation, and a day where Torah becomes real. Thanks for being with us. We'll be back tomorrow, and yeah, we're still at that table talking about if you're sitting at the table and you want to what it means to bring meaningful conversation into everything that we do. Good thought for the day. And praying for peace. Thanks for being with us. Yirtzeh Hashem, Inshallah.
May
Tomorrow.
25th, 2021. Bless our president, our vice president, our new mayor, and all their noble retinue.